players are basically superheroes. They stare down ancient dragons, topple corrupt gods, and reshape entire kingdoms. But they have a secret weapon that makes them truly immortal. A 300 gold piece diamond and a third level spell slot. Let's be real. Death in D&D has become a speed bump. It's a minor inconvenience that a quick Revivify can fix. An accounting problem for a party cleric to solve. The tension is gone. The stakes are low. But what if I told you that with one simple rule you can make death terrifying again? You can make your players' hearts pound when their character hits 0 hit points. Stick around and I'll show you how. The way Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition handles death has declawed what should be the most dramatic moment in the game. Unless the whole party goes down, a character's demise is often just a brief dramatic pause before they're brought back, usually in the same combat. The cost is a diamond and a spell slot, which becomes trivial for any mid-level party. This creates a playstyle where characters can be reckless without any fear of consequence. The narrative weight of mortality just vanishes. We've all seen it. A character falls, and the first question isn't, "Oh my god, what are we going to do?" but, "Who has the Revivify ready? We can do better." And for the solution, we turn to the master of high-stakes storytelling. While this mechanic was famously introduced to Critical Role by the legendary Brandon Lee Mulligan for a new campaign, it was born from his high lethality games. In worlds where resurrection magic is rare or even non-existent, character death becomes a very real and permanent threat. To counterbalance this severity and give players more agency in their life or death moments, Brennan introduced a brilliant homebrew system called Desperate Measures. This mechanic fundamentally changes how players interact with their own mortality. It transforms the passive, nail-biting experience of rolling death saves into an active strategic choice. It's a high-stakes, high-reward system that forces players to gamble with their character's very existence. The rule is simple and elegant. It activates when a player becomes bloodied, meaning they are at half of their maximum hit points or fewer. While bloodied, a player can choose on their turn to pre-fail one or more of their death saves. These failures are marked down and persist until their next long rest. If that character is knocked unconscious, they begin making death saves with those failures already counted against them. In exchange for this terrifying risk, they get an immediate, powerful benefit. The options are tiered based on how many saves you're willing to sacrifice. For forfeiting one death save, a player can choose from options like immediately taking the dash or disengage action, giving themselves a +5 bonus to a d20 test they just failed, or rerolling a missed attack. For forfeiting 2 death saves, they can choose to make a powerful successful attack deal maximum damage instead of rolling. And for the ultimate gamble, forfeiting all 3 death saves, which means instant permanent death if they go down. They can do things like immediately take an extra attack or magic action, or regain an expanded spell slot from 1st to 5th level. This system is brilliant because it puts the most important decision in the hands of the player. Do you play it safe, or do you risk it all for a moment of glory that could turn the tide of battle? It creates unforgettable moments. When these rules were used in Critical Roles for campaign, Laura Bailey's character, Thimble, used two pre-failed death saves to maximize her damage on a crit hit, dealing a staggering 42 points of damage in a single blow. It was a heroic, desperate gambit that completely changed the fight's momentum, all while leaving her one bad hit away from already having two death saves failed. This rule makes being at low health feel dangerous and exciting again. It gives players a mechanical way to express their character's desperation. They aren't just passively waiting for the dice to decide their fate, they're actively, defiantly betting against it. This is a mechanic that builds stories. By shifting the math of death from a simple resource tax to a high stakes gamble, the desperate measure mechanic brings real consequences back to the D&D table. It forces players to ask themselves not if they can be brought back, but how much they're willing to pay for victory right now. It's a masterful piece of game design that reminds us that the best stories are told when the stakes are real. This is a rule designed to add narrative weight and heart-pounding tension to your combat encounters. It's definitely not for every table, but if your players are feeling a little too comfortable, this might be the perfect fix. So, I've got to ask, would you use the Desperate Measures rules in your game? What are your favorite house rules for making death meaningful? Let me know in the comments below.